The Angel. Detective Kerry was one of the smartest characters in the franchise. In Saw 3, she wakes up suspended in a harness hooked into her ribcage. To survive, she has to dissolve a key in a jar of acid and unlock the device. And she actually does it. She burns her hand, grabs the key, and unlocks the lock. But the harness doesn't fall. Why? Because this trap wasn't built by Jigsaw. It was built by Amanda Young, who made it inescapable. Kerry realizes moments before the timer hits 0 that the game was rigged from the start. The device triggers, tearing her ribcage open like a pair of angel wings. She did everything right, and she still lost. But if you think a rigged trap is unfair, wait until you see the medical nightmare coming up next. The leg. Just when we thought the franchise ran out of ideas, Saw X dropped this absolute nightmare. Valentina, a scammer who faked medical procedures, finds herself in a trap where she has to perform a real one. The rule? Amputate her own leg with a Jigsaw and vacuum out enough bone marrow to tip a scale in under 3 minutes. And the craziest part? She actually commits. It is visceral, it is wet, and it is absolutely disgusting. But the tragedy? She fills the beaker, but the scale doesn't tip in time. The result? A wire mask snaps shut, decapitating her instantly. She went through all that pain for absolutely nothing. But trust me, the next one doesn't need blood to make you look away. The Pit. This might be the only trap in the franchise that doesn't actually kill the victim immediately, but I guarantee it's the one that made you pause the movie. In Saw 2, Amanda is thrown into a pit filled with thousands of dirty, used syringes. Her task? Dig through them to find a key. It's not about gears or explosives here. It's about the sheer, cringe-inducing sensation of steel needles piercing skin. She survives, but let's be honest, watching her get tossed in there like a rag doll is physically painful to watch, but the next one is a mistake you definitely don't want to make. The walls. In Saw 5, Agent Strahm thinks he has finally outsmarted Detective Hoffman. He finds a room with a glass coffin filled with shards of glass. The tape tells him to get inside the coffin if he wants to survive, but Strahm, being the smart cop, assumes it's a trap. He throws Hoffman into the coffin and locks him in, thinking he's just won the game. But then the room's door seals shut and the walls start moving. As the walls close in, the glass coffin, with Hoffman safely inside, lowers into the floor, protecting him completely. Strahm realizes too late that the coffin wasn't a death trap, it was the life raft. The walls crush him to death while he watches the bad guy survive right in front of him. Talk about a bad judgment call. But if Strahm deserved it for being arrogant, the next victim didn't deserve any of it. Oven. This one isn't just brutal, it's completely unfair. In Saw 3D, Bobby Dagan has to save his wife, Joyce. The catch? Joyce hasn't done anything wrong. She just married a guy who lied about being a Jigsaw survivor. Bobby has to hook his own pectoral muscles to chains and hoist himself up to disconnect the plug. He tries, he screams, his muscles literally rip apart, and he falls. And because he fails, a Brazen Bull capsule closes around his innocent wife. Giant burners ignite, and she is roasted alive from the outside in. She watches her husband fail and then burns to death for his lies. It is easily the most undeserved death in the entire series. But if you thought that was hot, wait until you see Jigsaw's personal favorite. Jigsaw's favorite. Even Jigsaw himself called this his personal favorite. In Saw 3, Timothy Young, the man who accidentally killed Jeff's son, is strapped into a vertical crucifix device. His limbs and head are locked into gears connected to a motor. The key to save him is tied to the trigger of a shotgun. Jeff, the grieving father, hesitates. He takes too long to decide if he wants to forgive, and while he's standing there crying, the machine starts. But it doesn't pull his limbs off, it rotates them slowly. First the arms, twisting until the bones snap under the torque, then the legs. Timothy screams until he literally can't breathe. By the time Jeff finally decides to help, the machine finishes the rotation, snapping his neck. It is mechanical, it is slow, and it is arguably the most painful way to die in cinema history. The carousel. In Saw 6, William Easton, an insurance executive who denies coverage to sick people, is forced to play a game that represents his own business policy. Who deserves to live? He stands in the center of a spinning carousel with 6 of his employees strapped to it. A shotgun is mounted in front of them. He only has 2 saves. That means 4 people have to die. He has to look them in the eye, listen to them beg for their lives, and decide who is worth saving. It's psychological torture at its peak. He saves the young woman. He saves the family man, but the others, he has to watch as the shotgun blasts a hole through their chests one by one. It's brutal, not because of the gore, but because of the choice. The laser. In Jigsaw 2017, we get a modern twist. Halloran and Logan are wearing collars fitted with laser cutters. The rule is simple: confess your sins or die. Halloran, a corrupt cop, thinks he can outsmart the game by forcing Logan to go first. Logan seemingly dies. Halloran, terrified, finally confesses to all his crimes to stop the lasers. But surprise, Logan stands up. He faked his death. He reveals he is the new apprentice. He tells Halloran that the game was to see if he would break the rules. Since Halloran forced Logan to go first, he broke the rules. The lasers activate, and well, let's just say Halloran gets a very close shave. Specifically, his head splits into 8 pieces like a blowing onion.